Public school enrollment across the country has been falling over the past 5 years, and that may have serious implications. States fund education based on the number of students.
As enrollment declines, we need fewer teachers and other staff because we have fewer students to serve.
But since the pandemic, many schools added staff and are now experiencing what experts call a fiscal cliff. Pandemic-era funding, known as ESSER funds, ended in September 2024, leaving roughly 250,000 education jobs or $24 billion worth of labor hanging in the balance.
As the ESSER funds expired and they no longer had those funds to support the added services from the pandemic, then they had to make decisions about that staff. And so in many cases, they're laid off.
It's like a family wins the lottery and says, wow, I have $1 million this year. I should buy a new house that has $1 million mortgage. There's no way you're going to be able to pay that next year. You're just using that money for this year.
This has caused friction in local communities.
You are not in need of these layoffs. Everyone knows it. You are choosing to lay people off.
Pasadena decided to take the slash and burn approach. It's obviously having a devastating impact on the morale of our schools. It's having irreversible impacts on our students and their sense of what's right in this world.
We actually warned school districts in advance, be careful about this money, because if you take on recurring financial commitments, you're going to really find that in 2025, we'll be calling it the bloodletting.
You ever get the feeling that everything in America is completely fucked up? You know that feeling that the whole country is like 1 inch away from saying, that's it, forget it. Let's see.
Hey, Twister Man. Now look, here's a house full of bees. You think the honey badger cares? It doesn't give a shit.
Listen, let's get one thing straight.
Price is right.
Guns don't kill people.
Little boxes on the hillside. Little boxes made of ticky-tacky. Little boxes on the hillside. Little boxes all the same. There's a green one and a pink and a blue one and a yellow one, and they're all made out of ticky-tacky, and they all look just the same. And the people in the houses all went to the university where they were put in boxes, and they came out all the same. And there's doctors and lawyers and business executives, and they're all made out of ticky-tacky, and they all look just the same.
Show episodes. You know, that's not impossible.
And they
so
all
check out Liberty Tree
on the
Podcast
course and drink their martinis dry, and they all have pretty children, and the children go to school, and the children go to summer camp, and then to the university where they are put in boxes. And
I just remembered I had a music request and I forgot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was that it?
Yes.
Oh my God. Amazing. You were going to request Malvina Reynolds?
Mm-hmm. Huge fan.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Totally. Do you recognize that song?
No.
It was the theme song in the show Weeds.
I don't know that show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you see that, Jake?
I've never seen the show, but I know the song.
Cool. It was a good show about the weed game.
Oh, okay.
Is it based out of Humboldt?
No.
Well, then.
Southern California.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's funny.
The Emerald Triangle.
Right.
Southern California.
I actually knew one of the actors in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A good dude that was my friend's roommate down in San Diego. He's kind of a dick.
Shout out.
Dude, I'm a little tired.
Yeah. We ran ourselves pretty hard this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and so we went up north.
Yes.
And to go hunting.
Yes.
And to take our boys to the fair.
Mm-hmm.
We packed a lot in.
Yeah.
Into this weekend. And then while we were hunting, we took our boys on a pretty good trek.
Yes. We pushed them to their limit, I think.
Yeah. And my son was complaining that his stomach hurt. Like, you're fine. And we're at the fair. I was like, hey, you want some ice cream or something? He said again, like, my stomach doesn't.
That's how you know.
Of course, I'm always like, he's fine. He's probably just tired from hunting because I was pretty fried myself.
But turning down ice cream.
Yeah. But it didn't do the math in my head. So we drove home this morning. Yeah. Yeah, he's, no, the other one.
He didn't shit his pants, did he?
He did.
Ah, damn it.
Just a little bit.
That sucks.
Hey, we're driving. There's nothing around. And he's like, I think I just pooped my pants. I'm like, oh, really? And my wife goes, we need to find him a bathroom. I'm like, I think we're past that. I believe he already has found himself a bathroom.
He found one.
So we pulled over on the side of the highway, and we're like middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, take your shorts off.
Yeah, like I've been through this a few times.
Yeah,
son.
I'll block you, from traffic. And then I was like, just throw your shorts out the window. I'll toss them in the back of my truck. We'll hose them out. I was like, whatever you do, don't sit back down on my seat till I have baby wipes in my hunting pack. Mm-hmm. As soon as I said that, he goes, whoops. Like,
God damn it.
All right. I always wanted to get new seat covers.
Yeah, it was a fun weekend, though.
Yeah, it was.
Dude, the funniest moment happened to me yesterday. Everybody went to take a nap.
Yeah.
And I normally can't nap, so I was just sitting on the couch, put my feet up on the coffee table, and sure enough, I fell asleep.
Yeah.
And I was probably asleep for, Frank said it was a half hour, but didn't feel like that. But what finally woke me up after the dogs were done licking my face.
Say we all know what.
Yeah, no. The flies kept like landing on my face.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And like where we're from, flies can actually get kind of bad up there, which all the livestock around, I think, there's just a ton of flies. And so I'm like, fucking flies, like kept waking me up. And so I like positioned my hands kind of like to keep them from landing. And I look, I'm kind of awake at this point. And I look, and the door to your backyard is like wide open. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, there's going to be flies. And then I hear the fly swatter, and your stepdad is in the backyard outside the door swatting flies outside. Meanwhile, there's a fucking million flies in the house that keep landing on me, and he's outside killing the flies on the deck and on the furniture. Just like, whoa.
You don't question his genius.
It's like, is he the first line of defense, and then someone else is supposed to take out the ones that are already in the house? Like,
he works big to small.
Yeah, right. It's just so weird. It's like,
dude, how rad was it? Oh, first off, I am so happy. This was one of the highlights. Besides anything that comes out of Vodie's mouth. It's usually the highlight because it's the most entertaining dude. I just listen to this guy forever. Yeah. I'm finally someone besides an immediate family member got to see my mom's ritual of when you get there, asking you if you're hungry. You say no. And then she itemizes every single item in the freezer. And then as if she thinks you're about to go, like, I don't think you have frozen chicken breasts, she'll pull it out and makes that giant pile on the counter.
Right.
Until now, eventually the entire freezer is empty and everything's on the counter.
It's
I just let her go. I'm like, it makes her happy. Like, you want some chicken? No, Mom, I'm not hungry. Thank you. You sure you're not hungry? Yeah, I'm sure. Let me get you some chicken. I was like, fine. She goes, it'll only take a couple minutes. I am not hungry. Okay. Turkey burgers? Want turkey burger? I got some chicken soup in here. Like, just
we have shrimp. There's shrimp.
She did it again this morning. I was like, really? We have to leave. We're not hungry. Thank you.
Oh man, that her hospitality is
next level.
It's great.
Yeah.
I always feel very welcome there.
Dude, how rad was it to just sit and talk to my stepdad about Vietnam?
Yeah,
that was so cool.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, his experience there was a lot different than what you hear from a lot of guys.
Yeah. So I've heard many of these stories before, but I had the running joke of when I was a kid and being obsessed with the movie Platoon and asking my stepdad, like, you were in Vietnam? He goes, yeah. He's like, how was it? It's all right. That's all he said. And then he explained in detail. I've never sat down for him that long and just talked about Vietnam.
Really?
I was like, his experience was just all right.
Yeah, because I asked him at one point, I was like, did you lose any friends? No.
Remember what he said?
Yeah, he's like, we were just mechanics.
Well, at some point he said, because he kind of meanders around. He'll just kind of go from subject to subject. He goes, it's just, I've lost the people I knew when I was younger, a lot, they're not around anymore. And I go like, I think we had said like, oh, like in Vietnam? He goes, no, just They didn't eat right. Didn't eat vegetables. Heart disease. We're like, so not nom, lack of salad in their diet.
Yeah, that'll get you.
So do you think you can recap? Because I'm fuzzy on the details. I want to go through it again. Or should we actually try to call Vody? Because I want to hear about his colonoscopy appointment.
Oh, my God. Can I recap it? No. I would need to hear it again.
Let me see if I can call him.
That was hilarious.
Because you gave me the bare bones of it, and it's hilarious because it's so perfectly him.
Yeah.
Just like doesn't think things through. Just like I'll figure it out.
Yeah. I'll retell it if he doesn't answer.
Okay.
So he went to the hospital.
So set the stage. Everything this guy says is like the most hilarious story I've ever heard.
But the way he tells it, it's like he doesn't think it's funny. But you're just like, what the hell? You're such a fucking maniac. So he went to the hospital for some procedure, and they gave him a bunch of fentanyl or whatever, and then he drove home. Mm-hmm. And he was supposed to have someone drive him home. Mm-hmm. And they found out about it, and they said, hey, that was not cool. You're not allowed to do that. If you ever do that again, you'll basically get a DUI. We just call the cops and tell them that you did that. He's like, oh, okay. So he has to get this colonoscopy done. And he shows up at
the way his mind works is like, erase that from my memory. Right. Moving on.
So he's at the hospital, and they're like, do you have a driver? Because you need to have some. You're going to be too groggy to drive home after the colonoscopy. And he's like, yeah, I got a driver. And he goes, they're like, oh, okay, who is it? And he's like, Mike. And then he's like, in his brain, he's like, shit, I got to figure out like a driver. And so he's like going through his phone. He has the number for some taxi driver whose name he doesn't know.
Right.
And it's like some like Sikh dude from India. And he like calls the guy, and he's like, hey, can you, I need a ride home from the hospital. And he comes out of the procedure, and he's all like groggy with there. And there's this Sikh dude just standing there waiting for him. And he's like, hey, Mike. They're like, okay. I'm like, I guess this is the guy. So that's gave him $100 and drive him back home.
Oh man.
Definitely better to have him tell it, but that was the long and short of it.
That's pretty good. So I guess everyone I talked to, because we hunted Saturday for deer opener up there.
Yeah.
And it's right on the coast. And there's kind of like I don't know, I wouldn't call it like a mountain range, but that goes all the way out to the coast and like connects. It's like the beginning of the Lost Coast. And on the base of that is all dairy pasture. But the way that's the kind of the geology is, if you hear a gunshot, like you'll hear it in town and almost all the way to the beach. You can hear it. So usually for your deer season, because we got skunked. We saw one deer in the very beginning.
Yep.
And then we did a huge trek. We went all over that property. Didn't see a single thing.
I didn't even really see any tracks.
I didn't see sign or anything, which I was noticing. I kept watching the ground like, I mean, I know there's deer all over here, but we also didn't hear a single shot. And then I talked to my other buddy who went way out to Petrolia. He goes, it was a weird thing, dude. There's just nothing out here right now. So I guess I haven't heard of a single person. Usually everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people get a deer on opening day.
Right.
I didn't hear of a single person even seeing anything.
That's when the deer are the least skittish.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, hopefully we'll have luck
next
month.
I'm just noticing that there are people that know more than others about hunting because there's so much to know.
Yes.
But I'm also convinced like no one really knows what's going on. You know, if like, how come there were no deer out on opening day? And they'll have like, well, it's most likely because of this, or, you know, the rut's going to be late or whatever. I was like, no one really knows. And it made me was thinking about while we were driving that there are so many parallels between hunting and surfing. Because if you think about, if you're not into it, like if you're talking about surfing to someone, they think about like what makes a good surfer is like, oh, you can drop into a wave and does a floater and smacks the lip and, you know, gets in the barrel and the whole deal. Because there's so much more to what makes a good surfer. Like you have to know how to read the ocean, figure out what the sandbars are doing, figure out where the rip is, what the reef formation is, wave selection. Like that's what makes like a really good surfer. It's like they don't just happen to catch like the perfect wave out there. They just like they know where to be, what the ocean's doing, what the swell's doing. Is this spot better on like low tide or high tide? And maybe think of like hunting. There's like so much. It's not just being a good shot. Like that's such a small part of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you get to shoot your weapon, it's a fucking miracle.
Yes. Because you're like, I only have 3 rounds for my rifle. I was like, dude, if we go through more than that, it's either the best day ever or the worst day of
Totally.
ever.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, if I end up firing 3 shots, like something's either gone horribly wrong or incredibly well.
But yeah, I was just thinking of the parallels while we were driving this morning of like between surfing and hunting. I'm like, it's just the guys I know that are really good at hunting. They're thinking about like the wind and the temperature and what the animals are doing and what the other animals are doing. And they're reading, that grass is matted down like this, but it rained on this day. So it makes me think that an animal was here, at this time. And there's so much more just like this cerebral activity.
Yeah, which way is the wind blowing?
Right.
How do I, you wear camo for a reason. I mean, the way that we were walking around the hills just because we had our kids with us was just kind of like clumsily like stumbling through, the chances of sneaking up on a deer who has the perfect hearing, great sense of smell, like it's just not a thing. Like when we saw that deer that was like 500 yards away and I was scanning with my binoculars and I saw it and it was already looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it knew we were there and we were downwind from it. But it knew we were there before I even noticed it. So yeah, it's
also to know one of the biggest kind of conundrums that I have on hunting is knowing when to cover a bunch of ground and when to just sit tight and just glass a ridge for, guys will do that for 6-7 hours. Just sit there like, I'm just going to say, this is the spot.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait till something comes to me.
That's what I was saying. If we'd had a couple of lawn chairs and a 12-pack of beer, like we'd just post up right there and just wait. Something's going to walk through this field soon. Hopefully not a cow. The cow don't help. Because when you spook a cow, then it goes boom, crashing through the fucking jungle.
I have another perspective on that. Yes, that makes sense. But at the same time, the deer are used to those cows. They're Scottish Highland cattle. They're tanks.
Yeah.
Giant giants. And they're also used to them crashing through and going, knocking over trees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, at the same time, like, this could be like kind of cover for us because it's a lot louder than us.
But when they're running, I think that tells the deer, like, there's danger.
Yeah.
Like the cows are spooked by something.
They're working. They're colluding.
Yeah. And so are the fucking birds, too. You walk through the jungle, you can hear the birds going like, alert, alert. There are men with guns. Like, shut the fuck up. Dude, wasn't it crazy? I made that comment. We were driving out there and we're in one of the most rural places in America.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, isn't it fucking wrong that the same government governs this land as governs Oakland, California?
Mm-hmm.
Like the two polar opposite places on Earth, and yet we all have to follow the same rules.
The first thing that popped in my head when you said that, I was like, yeah, I think about that quite a bit. And the first guy that popped in my head was Scott Wiener. Jake, look up Scott Wiener and see if you can dig up like some of the legislation that he has proposed over his career. I was like, he's a gay guy. He's very, very pedophile friendly, I guess we'll say.
Is he related to Anthony Weiner?
No.
Because it sounds like you're talking about the same guy.
No. Yes, yeah. I know, oddly enough.
Except I don't think he's gay.
Anthony Weiner's not.
No.
But he did get busted.
Sending dick pics to a kid.
Someone underage.
Yeah.
With his kid in his arms is in the picture. With him in an erection coming through his sweatpants. And then his wife, what's her name? Uma Ajabine or something. Abedin. Now she left him because of that.
Right.
And married Alex Soros.
Really?
George Soros' kid, yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
It's all it's all like inbred.
Yes,
inbred.
It is
Weird shit
incestuous
going on.
Yeah.
But anyway, to go back to my original point, it's like, yeah, we have a guy who, in my mind, is at least doesn't have the same feelings about pedophiles that you and I do in San Francisco that has a say in what these people are doing up here. And we're in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
With nothing but cows.
Yeah. And yeah, only cows, no deer.
Yeah.
And people that want to live in a much more down to the earth kind of way, be left alone. They want their guns, they want freedom, but no, they got to follow the exact same rules. The state, I mean, the country is probably too big. The state is probably too big.
Absolutely.
There needs to be a state of Jefferson or 2 or 3. You know, the state should be divided up. It's ridiculous. And our governor, Wiggles, who I'm calling him now after his dance montages that he's put together.
I love it when Dana did that when we were interviewing her. Remember, she did. She started doing all, oh, you know the dance.
Here, I have it up actually just to refresh your memory. I think that the way to beat these psychos like Gavin Newsom, Wiggles, is not necessarily through voting. Like voting him out of office, it's like you can go vote and it doesn't matter, right? None of our votes actually matter. And in California, a vote against Gavin Newsom or his people is meaningless.
Adorable.
It's a waste of a vote. You know, like who cares? They're going to win anyways. I think the way to beat them is to make fun of them.
Gerrymander the state.
Right.
Has the right thought of that yet?
No, I think what we need to do is humiliate these people.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just
that's way more fun too.
I got some Scott Wiener stuff up.
Let me just finish this thought and then I want to hear that. But the tide seems like it's turning to me, and it could just be the algorithm that I'm plugged into. But I feel like every time I flip open YouTube or Twitter or whatever, it's just people totally bagging on the Democrats in California. It does seem like it kind of reminds me of when Trump was getting really popular and right before the election, and the polls would come out and say, oh, it's neck and neck. It's never been so close. But the feeling was like,
you just knew. Yeah.
No, he's going to win. There's no way he can't win. Everyone is like, there's people in Santa Rosa out on street corners with MAGA signs. Like, that's
insane.
Yeah. So I think that's happening, and I want to pile on as much as I can and make fun of this dumb shit. What do you got there, Jake?
This is all coming from someone who either is or was running against them. So I guess, we got to
take it with a grain of salt.
Fair and balanced here. But some of the stuff, SB 145, decriminalization of pedophilia. I mean, permits pedophiles to avoid the sex registry as long as the age difference between themselves and their lover/victim is 10 years or less. So progressive. AB 957, transition your child or lose custody. It was first one I said was enacted. Second one was vetoed. And I don't have a lot of detail. AB 665. AB is Assembly bill. SB is Senate bill. State-sanctioned kidnapping.
Oh, the AB 495?
AB 665. 665.
Oh, okay.
That is permits children 12 and older to emancipate themselves and go to government-affiliated shelters for any reason without any claim of danger in the home.
Have you heard about AB 495?
No.
This is the one that people are really up in arms about right now. It's essentially a child trafficking bill.
Isn't that AB 397?
We could look up what those different ones are.
AB 495 says the Family Preparedness Act aims to provide legal mechanisms for temporary family caregivers during periods of absence, such as immigration
enforcement. That's the truancy one.
So, what this is that AB 495 says that anybody who knows a child can tell a court that they are their legal guardian as long as they pass just a couple of basic tests. So any kid that's an illegal immigrant can be taken by any person. And the point of the bill is to make it so that what they tell you is that if a immigrant's parents get deported, someone has to care for this kid who doesn't have parents anymore. And so they made it so it's wide open that anyone can come in and take custody of that kid. And they say it's just for illegals, but it's not. Legal residents, citizens of California can also have their kids can be taken by somebody who claims to be their legal resident, and then they can enroll them in whatever school they want. They can get them vaccinated with whatever vaccines they want. They have basically like the power of
gender affirming care.
There's a lot of pastors that are up in arms over AB 495.
Look up AB 397. This one. But okay, all these things are, especially if you go through, Scott Wiener has proposed a lot of legislation. It's like if I didn't know you very well, and every time I ran into you, you always kind of reverted the conversation back to like something, water sports, whatever. I was like, man, this guy's really into jet skiing. Like whatever you're talking about, it just seems like it just goes back to this thing. It's like if you notice this like commonality that's like through and through everything that you talk about and do, you're like, okay, that's what you're into. And if you look at Scott Wiener's legislation, I'm like, you seen a theme?
Yeah, exactly.
AB 397 doesn't appear to have Mr. Wiener's name associated with it.
Okay, this is just California.
This is coming from a gentleman named Mark Gonzalez. AB 397 to expand the California child tax credit and uplift over 1 million children out of poverty. What's wrong with you, Matthew?
Yeah, you don't.
Maybe I got the name wrong. I gotta double check that.
You thought?
Sorry, 379. AB 379.
Ah, the dyslexia bill.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
What do you got?
AB 379, signed into law July 2025, is the Survivor Support and Demand Reduction Act. The bill makes it a misdemeanor to loiter with the intent to purchase commercial sex. Creates the Survivor Support Fund using fines for such offense. Okay, so I got to like cut through the facts.
Currently, if you are involved in child sex trafficking in California, it's a misdemeanor. And they tried to make a bill that would like hold on for this draconian idea.
Yeah.
Would make it a felony. And California vetoed it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing this right now. So
you mean the governor vetoed it?
The governor vetoed it.
Reading this verbatim here. Felony for purchasing a child. Purchasing a child of any age for commercial sex is now a felony offense. And this was vetoed, you said?
I believe they shut the bill down. I don't know if it was vetoed or they didn't even vote on it. I think the thing that I read was saying is Democrats in the state assembly said like, no, we're not going to bring this bill to the table, maybe. And the reason I heard was when they got a pushback against it, like, what's wrong with you, basically? They said, like, we just don't have it in the budget to be changing laws like this.
This says that California, the AI overview says California's AB 379 was not vetoed. Governor Newsom approved the bill, which became Chapter 82 status as of 2025.
Well, good on us.
Yeah. Hey.
Wow, it's a felony.
I told you things were turning around.
Really cracking down. Well, that makes me happy. There was a big pushback against getting that bill passed.
Yeah,
Democrats.
Right. We live in an anarcho-tyranny state where people that commit crimes are allowed to run free and get off easy or have reduced sentences, or can flat out, buy a child and only get a misdemeanor for that. And it's nice to see that every once in a while, like that is changing. And I feel like things are changing in California. And
yeah, but
I'm still just kind of hoping, I guess. But I do see like a lot of people making fun of Wiggles and the people around him. And it looks to me like the tide is kind of turning.
The more cynical view, one that I hold, is also why we see things are changing, or the fact that AB 379 went through because they were trying to bury that bill. I think they tried to bury it like in the middle of the night, so it like didn't even go to vote. It's the only reason that those things are changing, or at least a large part of that, is because this ass clown is running for president, and he's gonna have all this stuff hung around his neck.
Well, he doesn't seem to be doing
Because
a very
California,
good job of that.
And we agree, besides maybe like Massachusetts or New York, you drive anywhere in the country and tell them you're from California.
Mm-hmm.
What's the reaction going to be?
Yeah, they tell you to go back to California.
Right. The rest of the country is not a huge fan of California.
No.
And much of that is because of just the ridiculous policies that we have.
Yeah, you could be right about that, but it's not like he's really changing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed this new thing that the Democrats are doing where they've like
swearing?
They start swearing everywhere.
They're trying to be like tough.
Yeah.
Well, they're trying to appeal to young men.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have no clue how to do it.
That's hilarious.
It's so fucking retarded. They're just going up there and dropping F-bombs and thinking like that's enough. Did you drop the F-bombs? Yep, dropped them. Oh, then we must have won over all those hearts and minds.
Sounded just like Joe Rogan back there.
Yeah.
Good job.
Dad, you sounded like Dirty Harry just then.
Really?
We're dealing with a myriad of issues. I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
That's odd.
I know.
It's uncomfortable.
It's weird. So I don't know if you are paying attention, but they just passed a law in California in the county of LA that the county can now take over all of the fire rebuild areas.
I saw that.
And force people to either build low-income housing. They can actually use general funds to buy up land, and then they would be forcing low-income housing, affordable housing, air quotes, into these fire lots in some of the most valuable real estate
in the world.
Yeah. So this is from Wall Street Apes. Whoa, the Hills actor Spencer Pratt, who lost his home in the Pacific Palisades fire, put new LA legislation Democrats passed onto Grok 4, heavy to understand it. California Senate has passed SB 549, granting LA County authority to purchase fire-destroyed lots for minimal cost, directly contradicting Mr. Gavin Newsom's previous assurances to homeowners that such government-driven property conversions wouldn't happen. It enables cities and counties to allocate property taxes to infrastructure districts from January 2026, mandating 40% affordable housing. It authorizes LA County to create a resilient building authority. It strips local control, creates a county authority that overrides city community decisions on rebuilding after the wildfires, centralizing power away from locals. An example, the Pacific Palisades input ignored enables rezoning without input. That's worded weirdly. Enables rezoning without input, allows rezoning for resilient. That's what it's called. That's what it's called. Projects like infill housing, this fucking Grok just had a fucking stroke writing this.
Grok was one of the last guys to get drafted.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, they're going to be taking up these fire lots and building affordable housing on them. And
there's a confluence between legislation like that and also the biggest complaint right now is getting permits to rebuild is next to impossible.
Right.
And insanely expensive.
And they've done that on purpose because
those things work together.
They're making all of these homes that were built in the 20s, 30s, 40s have to come up to like current standards. Yeah. And a lot of them simply can't. I heard Adam Carolla talking about recently that a lot of the houses down on the beach, they each have their own septic system. The septic system is, they're not a big lot. So I guess the septic system is under the house or in the area around the house, and it's right on the ocean. Well, they can't do that anymore.
I didn't know the whole area is on septic.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And so they can't rebuild.
Yeah.
Because you can't permit a septic system the way that you used to be able to.
Yeah.
So all of those people are totally fucked. But the government, being the ones that make the fucking laws in the first place, they can come in, do their thing, build affordable housing right on the fucking beach, probably put in a sewer system, and those people are just shit out of luck. They'll buy their property from them probably for pennies on the dollar, almost like a
eminent domain
situation. Right. So, according to the realtor organizations in America, we are 4 million homes short of supply right now. So that didn't make sense to me at first. Like, how can there be a short? Does that mean there's 4 million people that are homeless? But it's not that. There should be enough housing stock that people can move to whatever place that they want to go, sell their house, rent their house, move, buy another one. You need vacancies to make that happen. And so in the entire country, we're 4 million homes short. Because if every single person was living in a house and there were no houses available, the only way people could ever move is if they swapped houses with someone else, right? You have to have these vacant lots. And so according to them, we're 4 million units short.
Okay, explain to me. So if we're 4 million units short for the people in this country, so the non-thinking logical conclusion, which you just mentioned, would be that would mean there are 4 million homeless people, because there's no vacant houses,
right?
And then we have every house is filled, and we have these extra 4 million people.
That's what I thought it meant at first.
Okay,
but that's not what it means.
Yeah,
it means that,
as math is not.
It's kind of like unemployment. Like, if there's 0% unemployment, if every single person has a job, then nobody can move jobs. You need unemployed people you need to bring jobs to unemployed people. You open up jobs and there's people that don't have jobs, they can then come in and fill your job. And so if all of
like a job for the IRS, for example, if you added 80,000 people
correct.
to the IRS, which is funny. You know what's, just not to sidetrack you here, but I just recently heard that statistic. I mean, how many did the Biden administration added? Like, we added, 300,000 new jobs, and it's like 90% of them were with the federal government, something like that. I just made that math up top of my head. They proposed the 82,000 new IRS. I was like, not only are those not legitimate jobs,
yes,
but it makes the problems worse because the government doesn't produce anything.
Correct.
And we have to pay for that.
Right.
So you just exacerbated the problem.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the way to think about the 4 million homes thing is that imagine every single person is in a house and there isn't one new house. There isn't one empty apartment. Everything is totally stagnant. We would need extra houses that were available so that people could move around and pick and choose where they wanted to live. And we don't have that right now. So we have a situation where there's just not enough housing out there. And so the reason that there's not enough housing, in my humble opinion, is that it has gotten increasingly hard to build a house. And California is the shining example of this.
Yeah.
The cost of permitting in California is higher than anywhere else. You can spend, and it's not just permitting. It's you buy a building permit and then you finish building the house, and then they hit you with a sewer hookup fee, and then PG&E charges you to hook up the power, and then you have to pay a school fee on top of that.
No, wait. What if you put your kids in homeschool? You get a credit for
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, you would think, but no.
But I thought you would be responsible for taking money from public schools if you had your kid homeschooled.
Yeah.
No deduction on your taxes?
The way they do math.
So it's kind of the best of both worlds. You're paying for it, but they don't have to deal with your kids at the same time?
Right.
Okay, but I'm the problem.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
You got it. Yeah, you figured it out.
That makes sense to me.
And then you get all that done, and then your property taxes go up because you just built this, addition on your home, or a bigger house, or a new house, or an ADU. And so, like, the fees, the cost, and let's not forget the cost of compliance. Yeah. Like, as a builder, starting next year, I have to provide a 401k for my one employee who I guarantee you does not want. I've already asked him. He doesn't want a 401k.
Yeah.
But he gets it anyways. He has to be offered that. And just to offer him that, I have to spend $250 a month for the fucking program.
Yeah.
So they just keep layering on all of this shit, and it makes it harder and harder to build. And so the houses in California are super expensive.
Because now you have to charge more for building that house, because I have to pay for the guy's 401k that doesn't want it in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so what is affordable housing? according to like the state of California, what do they mean when they say affordable housing?
Housing you will not own.
They mean cheap fucking just shit boxes. Like this song that we done the intro, like little boxes.
That for some reason go to a no-bid contract and cost more than building a custom home.
The only way to make a house affordable in California is to build it in a shitty way. You use MDF trim. You don't do anything. You know, the cabinets are garbage. You make it as small as possible. You could build an apartment building, which per unit is cheaper, but nobody actually wants to live in an apartment building. Mm-hmm. People want to live in houses. And so I argue that building mansions around here, which there's people with money around here, they want mansions.
Yeah.
Building mansions is affordable housing because you're increasing the stock of housing. Mm-hmm. So if there's more mansions, and it's not like, I'm not saying we should just build expensive homes, but if you make more homes available, the people that are living in a house that they would like to maybe be in something bigger, or they just, started making more money, they then leave their house to a more expensive house.
I was going to say,
then the person below them can move up into
down
that.
The cost of really nice houses.
Yes, exactly. And so you're increasing the stock of housing. Either way, that is affordable housing. But that's not what California wants. What California wants is for you to build an ADU in your backyard. They want big fucking towers of apartment buildings everywhere. They want to urbanize the entire city, even a small city like the one that we live in. That's their only solution. Shit boxes, tiny homes, houses in your backyard, densifying urban places, when that's exactly the wrong way to go about it. We used to have a situation in California where it was cheap to build. People wanted to live here. There was not nearly as much regulation as there is now, and people just built a bunch of fucking houses. I mean, the houses that were built in Malibu on the sand with the septic systems that were old and decrepit, they worked.
Yeah.
They were fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It was working totally fine. They should be allowed to rebuild it just like it was. But no. Because of the chance that sewage might make it into the ocean, even though that was never an issue, we're going to actually have to just tear all that down and put in fucking apartment buildings. And it fucking just like, it's this example that we see over and over again of why it sucks to live in Wiggles, California, because they just layer one law on top of another just to smother people out. And the idiots here who keep voting for it, they just,
I've noticed there's talking about like common through lines and commonalities and consistencies. It reminds me of what you're talking about, because what they're doing, say in Malibu or anywhere, like we build homes, we build new homes. Mm-hmm. Every time that I've been involved in building a new home, including the ones currently that I'm involved with you, is at the end of it, the client always tells me the same thing. I would never, ever do this again.
Right.
I would say it was so expensive. It took so long. I mean, we're currently dealing with this. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, I just can't. It's like the client said to me, it's like they don't want us to live here. They don't want us to move into the house that we built.
They don't.
Yeah. And it's the same thing because it's just all, and what it is, it's the house is ready. It's full of furniture and everything. It's fine. It's a beautiful house. I was like, they just can't figure out the last of like the permitting. And it's just like they get socked with another fine, or not a fine, but another fee and another fee. And it's the same thing that they've done in California of trying to eliminate homeschooling. Mm-hmm. Like, all right, fine. You guys try to homeschool, but they're going to add this bureaucratic layer of paperwork that is near impossible for parents to figure it out. I was watching interviews with parents. They're like, they've obfuscated this process and made it so complex and so time consuming. It's like they want people to go like, I just don't have the time for this. I got to put my kid in a public school.
Yeah, and a public school here in Santa Rosa means that you're sending your 7th grader to a high school. Yeah. With a bunch of fucking gangbangers. Yeah. And dude, I got to go on. I have to make this rant for you. But actually, can we take a quick break? Maestro? So there's a high school next to my house and near my house. And next to the high school is Lucky's supermarket.
Mm-hmm.
So I showed you a picture once of this high school when they were building this enormous addition to it, 2-story or maybe 3, big old building, modern architecture, not a cheap project. And as they're building it, the school district was talking about shutting down that high school.
Yes.
I'm like, so you're building this brand new building so you can shut the fucking high school down?
Mm-hmm.
Which I wish they would shut the high school down because the kids are just so shitty there. And now it looks like that building is going to be used for administrative offices. Some classrooms, but they're adding administrative offices to the fucking building. And this is the problem. One of the main problems with California and America in general is So
while you're doing this, Jake, look up by state, if you can find it, which states spend the most on public education in the country?
Have you read the book, The Managerial Revolution?
No.
It's pretty interesting. I forget who wrote it, but there's this thing that happened where businesses went from being owned by like Carnegie.
Mm-hmm.
He was the owner of the steel company. He was there. He supervised what was going on. It was like he was the owner.
Mm-hmm.
There was just this one guy.
Yeah.
And then as businesses got bigger and corporations got more powerful, they started having to have more and more management. And so the managerial class formed. And the problem with the managerial class is that they perpetuate their own existence because they're in control. And so they just grow the managerial portion of the business because that's who they are.
Bureaucratic bloat.
Yeah. And so that same thing happens in government. I mean, all government is managers, right? And so all the schools and universities in California, they've gotten way more expensive to run because they've grown the administration. Mm-hmm. And it's just so, I don't know, it's not ironic that they're doing this giant building project for the administration.
Yeah.
It's not for the kids. It's for the fucking administration.
Right.
Meanwhile,
I know someone personally that has one of these jobs and they make, I think, $225,000 a year. And it just keeps, she gets new coworkers constantly. They're constantly just hiring more and more people.
They exist to perpetuate their own existence.
Yeah.
It's a perpetual employment machine.
We've got a lot of the northeastern states look like they're at the top. Connecticut, Delaware.
Per student?
Yeah, it is. So public K through 12 spending per student. Connecticut, this is in thousands of dollars. This is $25,000 in Connecticut, $18,000 and some change, $18,000 and some change in DC. I'm sorry, the last one was Delaware, DC. This is not in order. It looks like because I got Georgia and Indiana at $14,000 per student. Then we jumped to New Hampshire at 21, almost 22.
What's California?
California doesn't really 18 actually. Sorry.
Okay. So I mentioned that the school is next to the Lucky's supermarket.
Yeah.
When you leave my house at the wrong time of day, like around 3:00, and you go towards the high school, like you end up getting stuck in traffic at the stop sign.
Yeah.
Because the kids just aimlessly kind of meander through the crosswalk, having no awareness that there's anyone else alive in the world around them. And they just go like one at a time, slowly walk through the crosswalk. They don't care that you're sitting there waiting to leave. So it's a total clusterfuck. And all of the kids, they walk with their heads down and this like sour look on their face. Maybe they're staring at their phone. They just look like unhappy, miserable people with no concern for people around them. And this is a big reason why I put my son.
They walk in same arm, same leg?
No, they're not that bad. Yeah, if you give them time, though, as they hunch over, the posture fails.
The youthful avoidance of spinal degeneration.
Yes. And so that's one of the reasons that I put my son in homeschool, because I don't want him around all these miserable kids that go to the public schools. And they also they walk across the street after they're done meandering across the intersection. They go into the Lucky's supermarket and proceed to steal all the shit off the shelves there. So now Lucky's has had to hire a security guard to watch over them, and they had to pay to put in these automatic gates that they open when you walk in, but they don't let you walk back out. And then the other day I was in there and I went to buy stuff to make martinis, and all of the liquor is now under glass doors with a lock and key. Mm-hmm. I was like, fuck. Like, now I don't want to buy it. I'm like, this is going to be a fucking hassle. I got to go find somebody with the key, bring that person over there. Which one do you want? This one here. I go to grab it, and he's like, oh, no, I have to carry that up to the register for you. It'll be waiting for you at the register. I'm like, really? I can't even carry it up there?
Yeah.
No? Like, I'm going to steal it? And the guy, I asked him, I was like, so what's this? Why the lock and key? And he's like, oh, people are just stealing booze. I was like, the high schoolers, right? He's like, yep.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck those kids. Why are they allowed to come into the store? Like, do they spend that much money in there that Lucky really wants their business and it's worth them stealing shit? Because they're still stealing stuff. You know, they're just slipping it in their pants or whatever. And yeah, he was like, well, and I even talked to the manager. He's like, I know, I hate those kids. They're just like, they're just so fucking miserable. And so I looked up the test scores for Montgomery High School. And
speaking of things that are turning, there's a lot of franchise businesses in California that are making curfews. If you're under 18,
not allowed in.
Yeah, not allowed in past like 4 o'clock or something like that.
Right,
they're starting to kind of ratchet it down. Yeah,
good.
Yeah,
I'm sure that'll be made illegal because you're discriminating against low-income youth. Montgomery High School is ranked 1,317 it's a range to 1,652 in all of the California schools. It is way fucking down on the list.
Yes.
It's the worst high school in Santa Rosa. They only graduate 83% of the students, which it might sound high, but California has made it so that you don't even have to be able to read.
It's like getting popped for steroids in baseball. Like, dude, really?
Yeah, totally. And they still only graduate 83% of the kids in there. They're like one of the worst for being college ready. This is their math scores are lower than the state average, which is terrible. Lower than the state average in reading and lower than the state average in science. Like half
in science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm what I want to change in this school is I want schools I think public schools need to start teaching kids good human values. Mm-hmm. Fuck the reading, writing, arithmetic. They can't do that anyways, right? So we're sending them to this school to do something. We can at least teach them good manners, right? They're not going to learn to read or write. We know that ship has sailed. How about we just teach them to be decent people? Because otherwise, what are we spending our tax money on, right? We're being robbed to just basically babysit these kids so their shitty parents can go to work.
Shittier.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Teach them something. Teach them to be respectful when they go up to the crosswalk. Teach them not to steal. Like, let's just spend the 6 hours a day in school that they are in there just teaching them good behavior. Mm-hmm. I would be happy with that. They already can't read, so just fuck it. Don't teach them to read. Just teach them how to be good kids.
You think it's harder to teach someone reading, writing, or arithmetic than it is to teach them to be good?
I think teaching kids how to be good is not difficult.
I think that teaching them to read and write is not difficult either. But our system is so fucked up. Every school in California, the kids come out unable to read. Mm-hmm. So just fuck it. I'm changing the entire object of school. It's no longer about learning how to read. It's about just training them to be decent human beings. And, whatever method you want to take to do that. But that's what we should be doing.
Yeah, the argument would be like, well, if we give up on math and science, they won't have an opportunity to go to college. I'm like, look at these test scores. Your kid is not going to college.
No,
don't worry about it. Which is kind of ironic because your new template can be applied to colleges as well. It's like, do you even want your kid to go to college? Like, so what? So he gets a BA in creative writing. Then what?
Right.
Who gives a shit?
Totally. No, he should be learning just how to make our world tolerable instead of just the shithole that we've created with California schools.
Speaking of that, you and I have kind of gone through this before, but I honestly want an honest rebuttal to this.
Okay.
Because you have your kid in homeschool, or you're homeschooling your kid, or private school even, or charter schools, which are public schools, as it turns out, is the leftist argument against that is what? You shouldn't do that because what?
Because if you take the kids out of public school, then the public school won't be able to survive.
Why?
Because, I don't know why.
I know, just pretend.
There's some...
Try your best. Play a character.
The public schools get money from the state based on the attendance of the kids.
Okay. And our public schools are funded by what?
Taxes, the general fund.
Property, sales, income.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So I homeschool my kid. Therefore, I get a reduction on my taxes?
No.
No, I do not. Okay.
Well, that's what I'm always wondering. So you have...
No. You don't...
Sorry. All right.
I'm that guy. You got to be the other guy.
Make sure you say what I was about to say.
So if that's how the public school is funded, property tax, sale tax, and income tax, and there's a name for this formula, I can't remember it off the top of my head, and those don't go down in my realm, even though my kid's not in the school.
Right.
So on my end, I'm still paying for the school. So someone has my money.
Yeah.
Okay. So you, Kelly, you're yelling at the wrong guy. I've done my part, even though I'm not, taking the benefit from it.
No, it's a ridiculous argument. The money's still there. Whether the state decides to give it to the schools or not, they still have the money. They could just give them a lump sum. It doesn't have to be tied to the students. Yeah. I mean, you could take every single kid out of Montgomery High School, leave one kid in there, leave all the administration. We're all still paying the same taxes. Yeah. That kid would have the most expensive education in the world, right? Be $1 million a year education for that kid. There's no reason that they have to. They make the rules. They made this rule about the money being tied to attendance. They can change the rule. They do it all the time.
The reason why I bring it up is that I've just never gotten an answer to that question. And then the multiple people that I've had this conversation with, they were just kind of ideologue. Like, well, yeah, but it's based on attendance, and so now that money won't get that school. Or that school won't get that money. But yeah, there's no difference on my end. I'm still getting taxed the same amount. I was like, so that he goes, yeah, but that money won't go to that school. I'm like, so you're yelling at the wrong guy here, though. You need to figure, person X who, our tax assessor, whoever it is, like you need to be having this discussion with that person.
Yes.
And they keep circling back. I'm like, you're in this retarded tautology right now, like swimming in this circle.
Yeah, the state makes shit up like that to excite people, but it's not real.
Yeah.
It's not like it's carved in stone somewhere that the money has to go to the schools based on attendance.
Yeah.
They still have the money. They're not refunding us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. It's ridiculous. The whole system
I also love
crashing down.
I also love
the entire state.
I also love the irony of, having these conversations with people. You're saying they give you grief for putting your kid in a private school or homeschooling your kid. And you're like, well, what about, can you at least admit our public schools in California are underperforming? Let's just be polite about it. An intellectual broker would say, yeah, it's not good. we spend a lot of money and the results are not good. I'm like, what about a school voucher system, right? So people can put kids, their kids in whatever they think is the best school for them.
And they get paid by the state to do that.
And then the rebuttal you get is, well, no, that's not a good idea because everyone would just pull their kids out of public school. And you go like, that's what I'm talking about. So you're saying if parents had the choice, they would get their kids out of this fucking school. And so you just don't want to even give them the choice. You see how you're basically supporting my argument here?
And it almost seems to me like they're driving people intentionally to do that. Because the problem here in Santa Rosa is that their school attendance was dropping in all the public schools, right? Where are those kids going? They're going to private schools, homeschools. I guess charter schools would count for that. And so their solution, they were going to shut down the high school, like I said earlier, but then they decided not to. Instead, they shut down the middle schools and are sending middle schoolers into this fucking Gen Pop prison yard of a school next to my house.
Yeah.
So 7th and 8th graders are now going to a school where high schoolers stab each other every year.
Yeah.
In there. And so those kids' parents are just like, okay, like, okie doke, have fun at school today, Junior. Like, no, I guarantee you it's going to drive attendance down even more.
Yeah. It's almost like it's designed to fail.
Yeah, it's that strategy of tension thing, right?
Yeah.
That's what I always think of because they know it's failing. They're not going to let their own gravy train just disappear. They must have plans for some other draconian control mechanism that's
God, I can't imagine if 7th grade me was in the same classroom as senior me. A goddamn nightmare.
You guys know about all the John D. Rockefeller's investment in public education.
He created a public school system.
Yeah, and he's got some pretty famous quotes about very specifically trying to create a proletariat class through the education system.
Yeah,
he doesn't want thinkers. He wants workers. I don't have the quotes in front of me. I can pull them up. But
isn't it based on the Prussian model, the U.S. school system?
What I read is that John D. Rockefeller and another guy created the public school system, and it was, as you were saying, Jake, it was, I can't remember the exact quote, but it was meant to create obedient workers and not thinkers.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing with the sit at the desk and the bell ring and everything, it was basically to mildly introduce children to the factory setting.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
He said he wants a nation of, he does not want a nation of thinkers. He wants a nation of workers.
Right.
And I don't even think the public school system is holding the line in that regard.
No.
It is a bureaucratic foundation or department that is self-perpetuating in terms of requiring funds and spending the funds, but it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't really deliver on its promises. I always perceived public education to be like the bottom rung. Mm-hmm. This is the free school you get.
Public anything, public housing, government food.
Yeah, you don't get government cheese and complain about the taste.
Right.
You get what you get and you don't throw a fit.
This says that the public school system in the United States and other countries is based on the Prussian model of education, a system developed in 19th century Prussia. While it offered standardized curricula and teacher training, its core purpose was to create obedient citizens and soldiers through compulsory state-funded primary education. Influential American reformer Horace Mann helped introduce this model to the U.S. in the 1830s, shaping schools into the factory-like, age-segregated systems many know today.
I have an update on Nova Scotia.
Oh, let's hear it.
So, what's your recollection of the last time we talked about Nova Scotia?
Well, apparently a lot of forest fires were being started by people's hiking boots in the forest up there.
So they were forced to
not go in the woods.
Prohibit people, and ticketed people. I think $28,000.
Yeah,
up to them. for hiking in the forest. This and they actually use these words. And as I brought up on the last episode, it's hilarious because you type in climate lockdown and you get the AI overview of climate lockdown about how it's a conspiracy theory. And then right below that is the article about Nova Scotia and now it says climate lockdown. This is the headline of the article. It gets even better. Nova Scotia approves glyphosate spraying on acres of drought-stricken, fire-prone forest. So they kicked everyone out of the forest, and now they're going to spray the entire forest with glyphosate.
To kill the forest?
I have no idea.
Isn't that what... It's Roundup, basically, right?
It is.
They're spraying that on the forest.
Nova Scotia's Department...
That'll help with forest fires.
Nova Scotia's Department of Environment and Climate Change has issued approvals for aerial spraying of glyphosate-based herbicide. This year, those approvals allowed spraying on 3,577 acres of forest land in the province. The approvals are despite an ongoing drought, wildfires, and stringent restrictions on forest access in Nova Scotia, except to private landowners on their own property and for those with special permits to continue commercial activities, lithium mines, including forestry operations on Crown land.
So they don't say why they're spraying it in that article?
I'm looking it up. Who approved it? Nova Scotia.
It's like Agent Orange.
Glyphosate has been identified by the WHO as probably carcinogenic to humans. Its use in industrial forestry is to kill off deciduous plants, broadleaf shrubs, and trees that grow up after a clear cut and conifer plantations. It's controversial practice to reduce competition with the softwood trees grown for lumber or fiber, which essentially results in trees grown as monocultural crops rather than actual forest. It doesn't say in this article like what the actual reason is.
What I'm seeing is to control unwanted vegetation and promote the growth of preferred tree species. I'm trying to drill down and get some more specific information on the Nova Scotia forest.
So it's for the forest, the lumber industry, essentially. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. So they kick everyone out. They say, we can't have you walking around in the forest because you'll probably start a forest fire. They don't explain how that's going to happen.
Right.
And then right after that, they approve spraying the entire forest with glyphosate, which is poison.
Yes.
Yes.
Herbicide.
Yes.
Agent Orange.
Yes.
Huh.
I mean, reading some stuff, it says would make the underbrush dead and flammable if they were to use this process. It's been found to impact the kidneys and livers, increase cancer rates, and cause reproductive issues. And that's before even mentioning that it'll kill
I got a question.
Food the animals eat.
I got a question. You've done a fair amount of landscaping.
Mm-hmm.
What's more flammable? A green broadleafy plant or a dead plant?
Well, if you are a halfway intelligent, thinking human being who lives in Nova Scotia, and they're telling you that you can't go in the woods because you, by walking around, will start a fire, which is bullshit. Right? I mean, you got to understand, like, that's clearly the reason is not that they're worried about forest fires. There's another, if they're worried about forest fires, that was really their concern, they wouldn't care if people were walking around. They wouldn't want you to carry your roofing torch, like you said last time, or anything that could start a fire. I could see banning lighters from going into the forest. Right. But just walking around, that makes absolutely no sense.
Banning fires, how they did here after the fires. Right. A lot of campsites, like, sorry.
I think they're spraying it just to minimize people wanting to hike there.
I think that they have a completely different agenda than what they're telling us. And that's obvious because walking in the woods doesn't cause a fire. And now they're approving spraying chemicals on the land that will kill broadleaf plants, make them more flammable. That has a way more of an effect on the potential of a forest fire than people hiking in the woods. And if their intention is to cut down the trees and harvest them, then they don't care about climate change either.
Yeah.
Right. So none of this actually lines up with what they're saying. So I don't know if you're in Nova Scotia and you're not totally pissed off about this, then you're not paying attention.
It's funny. It's like having the climate change argument with people, and they're talking about how much of a carbon footprint your truck has, and you go like, "What are your thoughts on the Nord Stream pipeline?" And I just things happen every once in a while. I'm all, that was like one of the worst outputs of carbon in modern history, and like you have no thoughts about that, but you do have a problem with the guy driving the truck or using a gas powered leaf blower. That's interesting to me.
That's how you get those rabbits with the tentacles on their face.
Oh, I saw that. Have you seen that?
No.
Dude, this is creepy.
Really? What?
It's got some sort of...
Where is that? Is that Australia?
I don't think so.
There's some weird like fungi or parasite that's making rabbits grow tentacles out of their face.
Stop.
Yes.
Dude. All right, I got to see a video of this.
Supposedly, it's rabbits with tentacle-like growths have been spotted in Colorado, Minnesota, and Nebraska. The tentacle belt.
Rabbits are growing scary tentacle-like horns around their heads and faces. But the real question is, should you be worried? The cottontail rabbit papillomavirus, also known as CRPV, is a contagious virus that causes wart-like growths on a rabbit's skin. Yes, domestic rabbits can be infected. Most rabbits will not die from this virus. However, considering how fragile rabbits are, it can lead to pain, discomfort, eating problems, and in some rare cases, cancer. If you see a wild rabbit with papillomas, don't touch it.
Okay, I won't. Thank you. Oh, look at that cute little tentacle face guy.
Oh, wow. What's my first instinct? Get my hands on those little tentacles.
Fucking wild. Jeez, I didn't think we were going there.
We're all going to die. Everything's going to hell. What are you drinking there?
Non-alcoholic beer. Oh, this was a something that was in the fridge. Boozy tea, English breakfast, and lemon.
We had a house sitter. It must be. I don't know.
No, it was in my fridge.
Oh, your fridge.
I don't know. Here's this video that I came across that I thought I wanted to share with you. So there's this thing that's happening in our world that's becoming very apparent to me, that fake crises are something that everyone gets a hold of and become like a big deal. And that's what, the Summer of Love, George Floyd, all that stuff. They're these fake crises. That didn't actually happen, but we're going to, or January 6th is the worst thing since 9/11. And this is an example of that. And then what also happens is the real crises get totally buried and no one talks about them.
I want to thank all you people out there for voting this individual in. Thanks so much, because guess what? I live in a rural community, and now I know I can't simply leave my house. Thanks so much, guys. I'm going to be underground. You guys won't hear from me again. Bye, guys.
So this woman lives in a rural community, and what's implied is that she's gay, right? You can tell by her short haircut. No offense to women who aren't gay with short haircuts, but just she's obviously gay. And because she lives in a rural community, now that Trump has been elected, she has to go underground because she's no longer safe.
She has to move underground?
Yes. Which anyone that lives in a rural community knows this is utter horse shit.
Yeah.
Because no one cares what you do on your own time behind closed doors in your bedroom, like whatever. No one gives a shit. And we both come from a rural area. That's exactly how it is there.
I was just thinking about that. If we went to where we were from and just did a test and walked into the random, well, there's one bar, two now, and said, I'm gay. And we're like, right on.
Yeah.
Did you hunt this morning?
Yeah. No one cares. All right. So now I said that there's real crises that are happening and they get swept under the rug. And one of them is the child raping scandal that's been happening in England for a long time now. Tommy Robinson has been...
He made a documentary, That Rape of England.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch.
I know. And he was always called a racist, and he just didn't really, he just didn't like brown people. It had nothing to do with kids getting raped. In fact, kids aren't getting raped. And then Elon Musk tweeted it out, and now it's like... it's a little bit more out in the open, and Tommy Robinson is getting a little bit of a rebirth in his reputation.
Credibility, yeah.
Yeah. So check this out.
Several years.
What are we watching?
Local teenage girl, familiar.
Sorry.
He keeps.
Here we go. He'll tell you.
He keeps kicking.
This is what we're watching is a riot, basically. A bunch of people in England, white people, attacking police vehicles and fighting with the cops. And this is the explanation.
Off. And the anger is all too familiar. It started in Epping after a 38-year-old Ethiopian man was charged with sexual assault. The alleged victim was a local teenage girl. In court, it was confirmed that he had recently arrived on a small boat. Since then, violence has continued around the Bell Hotel, which has been home to asylum seekers for several years.
Pretend it never happened. That'd be tough. If I could, no, I don't think I could do that. Even if I was absolutely fucking shit scared, I couldn't pretend it never happened.
I knew about it, and
So this gathering.
Wait. Am I understanding this correctly? So a guy from Ethiopia showed up on a boat and sexually assaulted a teenage girl.
Yeah,
and they arrested him.
Yes, but I think they let him out or whatever, and so that's why.
Oh, okay.
Were protesting,
dude.
This woman who's about to talk, and like what Ricky Gervais was saying is that like people have been intimidated by the authorities to not speak out on this. I mean, England goes out of their way to abuse the native Englanders and out of their way to excuse the immigrants who have come into their country and are all committing these horrible crimes against children. And the reason why nobody wants to stop them from doing this is because they're all afraid of racism.
Yeah.
They're afraid. They're so afraid of being called racist that they're willing to allow their children to be totally sexually abused and tortured by these people.
Yeah.
Because God forbid you get called a racist. And so a lot of people didn't want to come to this demonstration because they didn't want it. They thought it might turn violent, and it did. And so they kind of were justified in that.
Yeah.
But the violence is also justified, in my opinion. And so on September the 13th, there is a big demonstration planned in England. And a lot of people are saying, like, the Civil War is about to kick off.
Wow.
In England. So mark your calendar.
Are you familiar with the preference cascade?
No.
With the preference cascade, Jake, maybe there's recently a really good article written about this, and we see that in the UK and we see that in the US. We saw that in spades over the last probably 5-6 years. So think of like woke culture of like people saying like, yeah, like men can get pregnant. And it's just like everyone in the room is like, yeah,
it's memetics.
What's that?
It's memetics.
Memetics. And what it is it's this very loud vocal minority grabs hold of the kind of conversation of the language right off the bat. And they're vicious and they're aggressive. And everyone else just goes like, I don't really want to, you know what I mean? I don't want to be on the wrong end of this person here. And so they all vocally go along with it. But what the preference cascade is it just takes one or two people saying like, no, a man cannot get pregnant. And then 8 out of 10 people in that room going like, hey, okay, that's what I was thinking the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, were you thinking that too? Yes.
Yes. That's the preference cascade.
Okay.
And that's why we have seen such an aggressive kind of attack on taking control of like language and ideas, because that's how it starts. And that's what shuts down the preference cascade. But all it takes is one or two people to say like, I'm not going along with this shit anymore. And everyone behind him goes like, okay, I didn't have the balls to say it, but yeah.
It seems to me like that's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
Right now.
Quite a bit, which is nice.
It is.
I mean, we're nowhere near normalcy, but it has crashed off that guardrail and it's going back the other way, which has been nice to see.
It is nice. It scares me a little bit too, though. Like, these people just going to give up power?
No.
And just roll over?
No.
So,
because what happens when you corner a wild pack animal?
Mm-hmm.
It gets crazy and it gets desperate. And that's what we're doing with these just perverted, bizarre ideologies.
Is this case that you have the video up of? Is this? If I'm reading the same case over here, it's from 2024, or is that more recent?
No, this was a couple of weeks ago, I believe.
I'm not relieved because this is a very dark story, but I thought that they were right when you first showed that to me, because I don't have any background on it, that they were writing because they arrested the guy. I was just like, dude, this word.
I know. That's what you would expect.
Yes.
But no, people in England are rising up against this stuff. Yeah. Hopefully it's not too late, because they're basically outnumbered.
Yeah.
I think at this point. What's the population of England that are immigrant, Jake? I've heard that it's over 50%, but that could have just been someone being kind of hyperbolic.
Yeah.
It's heading there.
So AI to the rescue. Population of foreign-born residents in the UK is estimated to be around 10 million, representing 16% of the total population.
Okay. I was way off.
Quite a bit.
Key data points: 10.7 million were born outside of the. I'm looking for the immigrant data or asylum seeker data here. It's you got too many gradients from foreign-born to immigrant to first generation. The data's all screwy, so ignore that.
This is what starts kind of broader theme, kind of conspiracy theories. Because when you have a show of force by what would appear to be the majority of a sentiment of an area, and we see this here, we just saw that in a video in England, because what our elected representatives are supposed to do what? Represent
the will of the people.
Yeah. And when you have a very kind of strong message being sent, and still those elected people are going like, nope. We're gonna forge ahead with our original idea.
Right.
That's what makes people go like, okay. And then you start, this is like when you start talking about your George Soroses or your WFs or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what starts these things.
That's why I think that the idea of voting these people out is the wrong idea. There needs to be a show of force, and preferably peaceful, that moves the Overton window back to where it's supposed to be, that changes the way that these people behave. Because you vote them out, you vote someone in, you're voting in politicians who are always going to disappoint you. What we need to do is just show them that they're stupid.
A proverbial tar and feather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing about peaceful protests, like that are, it's the right way to do this kind of a thing. Like, you and I are prepared for violence, should that we, have to go there, which we hope we never do. But the right way to make these changes is through nonviolent protest. And I know that because if you ever try to do nonviolent protest against the government, what do? Send in agent provocateurs.
Make it turn violent somehow.
Yes. They need it to be violent so that they can seem like they are responding with appropriate force.
Yeah.
If a large protest remains truly peaceful and then they bring violence, then you've won right there. Everyone sees that and goes, oh my God, those people were not even being violent, and the police just came in and started cracking heads.
That guy had his feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk. The audacity.
Yeah, that's how you know it works, because they do everything they can to prevent that.
Yeah, look at perfect example, Ruby Ridge. The guy, he was in a firefight. Well, you did shoot his dog and his kid and his wife.
Right.
Yeah. I could see that might get under someone's skin.
To say the least.
I don't know. I don't feel like it's particularly bigoted on my part, but that's what a bigot would say. But the thought of going to a place like Ireland, where you're expecting to see a lot of people with like red hair and green eyes, as an idea, like you go to a country like that it's a really good microcosm of these are the people that have been here forever.
Right.
This is their place. You want that flavor of person, place, thing, whatever. You know, you can go to the source. You go to the tap. And the idea that, again, I got no interest in going to Ireland, but for whatever reason, this breaks my heart a little bit, is that if I were to make that trip, I'd go there and see, it's kind of like Gone almost by a lot of accounts. Seeing
the only reason that sounds bigoted is because you're talking about you want to see white people, you don't want to see brown people. That's how it comes across. But that's not what it is, because you could say the same thing about Japan. Like, you wouldn't want to go to Japan and see a bunch of white people taking over the country of Japan. Like, that would ruin the experience of.
I would hate to see Irish people in Japan.
Right.
And it's just I like. And
That's why you would hate to see them in Japan or any other country.
I'm not. I got issues with Irish people, but
bigot.
The idea as an American, this country was founded by immigrants, I guess, from a white person's perspective. There are obviously people living here when the boats showed up. It's not the best example of a country and a culture that's existed for an extremely long time and has to some significant degree remain unchanged. The United States is, but you brought up Japan, excellent example. I keep thinking Ireland. I want to go to Hawaii and I want to see the Hawaiians or whatever, I just like knowing that there's pockets of culture that exist and have been unchanged. Those folks try to preserve their culture to the best of their abilities. And the idea that is eroding kind of breaks my heart a little bit. And I've never been to any of the places I just mentioned, but I still like the idea of it. And it's kind of sad that it seems like it's sort of dying.
So you would say Syrians belong in Syria and Pakistanis belong in Pakistan? I don't want to put those words in your mouth, but I think about that all the time. Like, what is wrong with those countries that the people there need to go to another country and completely, not assimilate, but completely change that country into the country that they left, like Minneapolis and the Somalis that have basically turned it into Somalia.
So unpacking this a little bit, if I were better educated about Pakistani or Somalian culture, it's entirely likely that I would say that's really interesting. I would love to go see that. I don't know anything about those two countries' cultures and those people. It's just ignorance on my part. But certainly what I'd like to see is all of the years of history that sort of create the culture of any given people. I want to see it if I'm traveling. I don't want to see like a melting pot of everybody's culture there. If I get on a plane,
culture in every country.
Yeah, it's like the disappointment of going to Mexico and seeing a Target. Like,
right,
man,
Costco
or a Costco, yeah.
Senior frogs.
That's what I'm talking about. Some authentic Mexican.
I don't think I know that's easy to paint. What you're saying there, Jake, is being like some kind of bigot or xenophobe or whatever. But I think what the argument you're making is actually the opposite. Is like it goes back to the discussion that we were having about like nationalism. I was like, I don't understand how that became a bad word. Like, no matter where you're from, you should be a nationalist. You should be proud of where you're from, you're proud of your country's cultures and the ideals that you guys have that you were born with and your community
And
has.
if you become a citizen of another country, then I think it's your duty to be a nationalist for that country, not for the country that you came from.
Yeah.
I think there's some a level of respect that should be paid if you are an American and for whatever reason you have to relocate to Japan or Ireland or even Syria or whatever. Like there should be a measure of respect you pay to the country you're going to.
Absolutely. We always say, like, when you travel to another country, I've been blessed. I've been able to travel quite a bit. It's like the first thing you're always thinking of, like, number one, you're a representative of your country, so don't be an asshole. And then number two, act as if. You have to adapt to where you're traveling. You don't just go like, well, I'm from America and like this is how we do it, even though it goes entirely against their customs.
Right.
That goes back to number one. That makes you an asshole.
Right.
It's like, no, if this is the way they do it, this is the way you have to figure out, and you have to do it like they do it because this has been here for thousands of years. Whatever.
You're a guest.
Yes.
In their country.
Yeah. That's like
Behave
that
accordingly.
We used to always say that. It's like no matter, like even going to other states, like you're a guest in that state. Act as if.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking up. I'd be really curious because it all kind of boils down to like these types of policies that get put in place. That what we're watching on that screen, the people rioting. They're on a small scale. They're rioting against this specific act. Somebody brutalized a child,
right?
And that's not good. Obviously, there should be the same level of unrest by the group, the family, the people in the neighborhood, the community about that. But it looks like what's happening over there on a grander scale is they feel those folks that are rioting feel betrayed by the political class that have subjected them to these types of things, which, someone in that crowd saying this wouldn't have happened if we had better, borders, my kid would still be alive or their kid would still be alive. I'm really curious about the political leaders' motivations to encourage this sort of porous border that will change. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit here, are they doing it to get votes? Is it that simple in...
It's funny. This is kind of dovetailing into what Jake is saying, but when you showed me that video of that riot and then you told me like what they were actually rioting for, I'm like, you know what that is? That's the ratchet strap breaking finally.
Mm-hmm.
Keep clicking it down. The ratchet strap only goes one way. It only goes tighter, tighter, tighter. It can be applied to numerous metaphors. It could be authoritarian control. It could be the strategy of tension of a population that we saw here. And eventually, like, that strap's going to break. And that's what we just saw right there. It's that strap breaking.
Yeah, I agree. The answer to that question of why they want to import all these cultures into Western cultures is, I don't know what it is. I could speculate. We've talked about it a lot. When we talk about WEF and all the shit that they are just trying to do to Western countries. But it's clearly there is a strategy because they're doing it all over Europe. They're trying to do it in America. They are up to something. What that is exactly, I don't know.
I'm not a fan of this of Conor McGregor, but apparently he's made either did or is currently in the process of running for president of Ireland, right? And at the top of his policy appears to be like immigration reform, which he's just kind of I can't advocate for the person. He's nuts. He's apparently done a lot of really crappy stuff. So he's kind of like a novelty like politician. Well, we got Trump, right? But like that says
we did have Schwarzenegger as our governor in California.
But that speaks to, he's coming out with this immigration policy reform stuff because he feels like that message is going to speak loud enough to, whatever his base ends up being. If you're a National Socialist, far right, whatever guy, and you decide to run for any sort of political office, which is just basically a popularity contest, if you think you have enough folks, that speaks to the fact that there's a group of people there that agree with you, and you think that group is big enough to get the job done in terms of running for this office. Those kind of things don't get advertised in our news. Nobody gets on American news, mainstream media news, and talks about how upset all of the people of country X are at all the immigrants coming from country Y, because it's going back to the race thing. Nobody wants to look like they're racist. Mm-hmm. But those are the kind of murmurs that occur inside the houses and on the streets and in the bars.
The preference cascade.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I find it kind of interesting that you do a parallel to Trump, because it's kind of the same thing. The amount of people, like, if you ask me, like, what do you think of Trump? I was like, I think he's a loudmouth, deplorable shithead. I was like, but he said he was going to do these things. He didn't. You know what I mean? It's like people given within the confines of the options that we're giving. I'm like, well, it's got to be this thing here. I think of that same thing, like, Conor McGregor doesn't strike me as a good person or a good dude. I think the same thing. I think he's a loudmouth asshole or whatever. I was like, but if he represents what millions of people are saying, it's like, yeah, fine. I'll go with him. I'll hold my nose and go along with it.
With Trump, speaking for myself here, with Trump these days, I don't even view him as an individual. Or like what's wrong with the country or what's wrong with our leader. I just see it as a pretty glaring example of what's wrong with the way we select. We create a governmental decision-making machine. Mm-hmm. Like I was going to say power structure, but saying something like power structure starts to immediately bring on this whole elites versus, whatever, non-elites. Like, and that's kind of how it is. And if that were to, we were to change our political system in some way, like let's just go crazy. We're going to get a king and we're going to do it by blood. Mm-hmm. Like, it might be better.
I think you can make an argument that it was better. That
I'm at least listening.
Well, there's there's examples of that being completely shit as well, obviously.
Yeah, but the Hans Hermann Hoppe in Democracy, the God That Failed, makes the argument not for monarchy, but that democracy is a way worse system than monarchy. And that at least in monarchy, the king owned the government. And so if it failed, he lost money, power, prestige. So he had to maintain the country to a degree. But with this manager class that runs everything now, they don't give a fuck. It fails. They hire more people. They tax us more. They make more money. Everything can go to shit. And they have no ownership over it at all. So I would be for it.
Yeah. Churchill's you guys probably heard the Churchill quote that democracy is the worst type of government except for all the others.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like guys like Conor McGregor and Trump, God only knows what the hell's going on with France. Like, I don't think we've ever talked about that. You guys
a similar thing is happening in France. The nationalists there
his wife's a dude?
Yeah.
That one?
That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, the similar thing is happening in France. People are not putting up with this shit anymore. And you have, what's that woman's name? Le Pen?
Le Pen, yeah.
Yeah, Marie Le Pen. She is gaining more and more power every day. I don't know a lot about it. I could be off about that. But yeah, it's the same thing. People are just not having this new world order, just stripping of our culture.
The strategy of tension's a strap, and that strap's going to break eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And the people in the houses all went to the university where they were put in boxes and they came out all the same. And this there's doctors and lawyers and business executives, and they're all made out of ticky-tacky, and they all look just the same. And they all play on the golf course and drink their martinis dry, and they all have pretty children, and the children go to school, and the children go to summer camp, and then to the university where they are put in boxes and they come out all the same.